Hey, everybody. Welcome to Disrupt Your Now with me, your host, Lisa Kipps-Brown, and my special guest tonight, Hoby Wedler, who I feel like is a combination of my brother, my new brother, and channeling my father, who's been dead for 36 years.
Hey, everybody.
Whatever, how long it's been. Hey, Hoby.
Hey, Lisa, how are you?
I'm good. So y'all understand what I mean. Hoby and I met in Clubhouse. And Hoby happens to have been born blind. He's a PhD chemist and an entrepreneur. And my father was blind. And I lost my dad in 1995. So I said 36 years ago. That's 26. You would never know I used to be an accountant, Hoby. But anyway, sometimes when Hoby and I are talking, I feel like he's channeling Daddy. And it's so funny. I was telling somebody about that today, Hoby.
That's great. That's great.
We should have another guest joining us soon, Kelly with Springfield Distillery. But we're going to go on and get started because Facebook will boot us off if we're late. And then if something happens and she doesn't make it, we'll just catch up with her. But
so Lisa, I know you're normally at 7, and I just want to thank you and your audience personally for going an hour later to accommodate my annoying schedule. So thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. And y'all, Hoby's on the West Coast. He's in Sonoma County. So, hey, it's no problem.
Thank you.
But, you're welcome. But the reason Hoby and Kelly are going to be my guests tonight is because our 3 companies are jointly sponsoring Colin Garrett this weekend at Michigan in the Xfinity race.
Woohoo!
And we are making NASCAR history. As far as we know, Hoby's company is the very first blind-owned sponsor of a car. And we have the first Braille-themed paint scheme. So I'm going to show it to y'all real quick. It's so cool.
Lisa, I didn't know that about the first blind-owned company. That's cool.
I mean, as far as I know, I haven't been able
so cool.
I haven't been able to find any. I mean, if there ever was, they didn't mention it.
Oh, my gosh.
So I don't know if y'all can see it very well on your screen, but on the passenger side and the driver's side, normally it has the driver's name. So on the passenger side, it has Colin's name in Braille, and then each of the numbers have the Braille version of it down in the bottom left corner.
That's so much fun.
I think it's so cool. And then,
I love it.
Yeah, and then we have the numbers on the roof are in Braille. And there's also the, I think the numbers on the front quarter panel, I believe, so anyway, it's real. I just think it's so cool. And so it's Hoby's company, the Hoby Collective, and I'm going to let him explain that to y'all in a minute. It is my new book, Disrupt Your Now, the Successful
Entrepreneur. Which is awesome, by the way.
What?
Which is awesome.
Oh, thank you, Hoby. So it's called Disrupt Your Now, the Successful Entrepreneur's Guide to Reimagining Your Business and Life. And Hoby is in it. And then Springfield Distillery is on the car, and a great company called Accessiby. And they have created an artificial intelligence-powered plugin for websites that automatically makes your website be compliant to the requirements for accessibility. And, when most people think of accessibility, they think of only for people with vision impairment, but it's for all kinds of things like people with epilepsy, because I don't know if y'all know it or not, but a bunch of things flashing can literally trigger a seizure. So they cover like everything that's required in the disability requirements: epilepsy, quadriplegics, vision, all kinds of stuff.
And they're just really a great group of people too. They're such nice people, and they have such a lot of companies care about making money first. I think the thing that I love about Accessiby more than anything is they just want to make the world a better place.
They do, and I have to say, when we were talking with them about coming in as sponsors on this, our first question to sponsors is, what problem can we help you solve? Yeah. We want you to get a return on investment out of your sponsorship. And their answer kept being, we just want to help y'all, and I was like, wow. And, obviously we want them to have a return on investment, but they just were like, we're not worried about that. We just want to help y'all, and we want to help promote Hoby's new product. Hoby, tell us about your product.
Oh my gosh. Well, I have to say I'm so honored to be able to sponsor Colin's car and to be on there. And Lisa, this is all due to meeting you. So I need to give you a big shout out first and foremost, because you were the one who, we met, I think it was January.
I think it was January.
It was January, but then I think we had been going back and forth and all this. And then we got on a call finally in February, and we realized, wait a minute, this is really unique and really cool. And we got to talking, and one thing led to another. And you told me about this NASCAR opportunity, and then we started going to companies together. Mm-hmm. And man, the fact that this is on the car, and like you sent out a press release just this morning, it's like, this is really happening. And it's amazing to me what can happen as relationships grow just in 6 months or whatever time. It's just really cool. And I owe you a huge thank you for this opportunity to be on the car and to meet such great people like Colin and his dad Ryan, and really just to this whole thing. So a special thank you goes out to you publicly on the show. But
you're welcome, Hoby. I think of you as more like a brother now.
Well,
hello. You're young enough to be my son. So
I think of you as family too. So it's all.
I'm not going to claim you as my son, though. You're going to have to be my little brother. Okay.
I'll be your brother. Absolutely. My sister. There you go. Yeah. Absolutely. It's good. Hoby's is a fun thing. My business partner and I, Justin, back in October. So let me tell you a little backstory. We have for several years now been making these seasoning blends and using them on food. And little makes me happier than cooking a great meal. And Lisa, when we meet in person, Justin and I can't wait to cook for you. It'll be fun.
Oh, goody.
And get to try these yummy things. But it's funny because I would cook things for people just using these two products really as the only spice combination, and people would, what is that? Let me have the recipe. And I would politely decline every time to give them the recipe because it's my recipe. But
yeah,
I'd give away the product, and a few friends and family had it and all this. And then we're just done with the pandemic in October of last year, and Justin and I both looked at each other one morning and said, why the heck don't we make these available to the public? No, there's no reason people shouldn't be able to access these whenever and however and wherever they want.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things, Lisa, that so well that, that you kind of talk about and touch on and Disrupt Your Now is the amount of time that something takes. And, focusing on the fact that, you just have to keep going. You can change a little bit of what you do, but everything takes time, and it's okay to take the time you need and just keep going through. So that's what we did. And our products, this is how close we are to launching. Our products have been made, and they're sitting in our shipping facility right now, our third-party logistics company, and they will be online at Hoby.com as early as tomorrow.
Yay! I can't wait to order some.
Oh no, we'll send you samples. Come on. It's so much fun to be on your show the night before we launch. It's really
that is so cool. I knew you would be launching soon, but I wasn't sure exactly when.
No, this is it. And the products are really fun. They're some of my favorite flavor combinations. One of them is a rosemary salt, and that is literally salt that has been blended with rosemary and a bunch of other herbs and garlic. But the real kicker there is lemon juice, and that gives it this nice acidity. So it just really gives foods great flavor. The other one is something called Happy Paprika, which is paprika and really cool black telecherry pepper that's been ground in there. A little touch of cumin, not overpowering the cumin. And the funnest ingredient there to me is a little bit of ancho chili. Now, I like ancho because it has a flavor. If you've had ancho, Lisa, it has a flavor of like hot pepper. It's got that aspect to it, but it's not hot at all. So you get that nice chili flavor.
Interesting.
And they're so versatile, and they're so much fun. And we just, our tagline is elevating happiness, because
I love that.
Thank you. And the point here is like, we want to be accessible to everyone and inclusive to everyone. And like, I'm not trying to cure cancer. That's what my colleagues in chemistry who decided to go on and do something more with their PhDs are trying to do right now. I'm just trying to make Tuesday night a celebration. That's all I'm doing.
I love that. Make Tuesday night a celebration. That's
well,
awesome.
It's already a celebration because it's your show night. But
that's right.
There you go.
No, but that's a great goal, because think about it. If everybody could make Tuesday night a celebration, just an average every day, make just a regular old day a celebration. Think about how much life would be different. And I want to say, though, when you and I are talking about celebrating, we're not talking about you always have to be kicking up your heels and all just really up like you would be on holidays and stuff. It's all about just celebrating life and being content with yourself.
Exactly.
And just living in the moment, right?
Well, sometimes for me, I totally agree. And sometimes for me, celebrating and living life is going outside and blowing off steam, pulling weeds. I find that therapeutic. I love it.
Yeah, well, I hate pulling weeds, but I love mowing grass. So you can come pull my weeds.
Okay.
And I'll go mow your grass.
Do you have like one of those ride-on mowers?
No, I like the push mower.
Oh, cool.
Because I like it because I get cardio and strength, but it's like my zen moment. I've mowed like 9 and 10 miles at a time, Hoby.
Oh, that's incredible. So you have some property.
Hates mowing. So he uses the riding mower, but that way he can get it done faster. He can ride around and drink beer while he's doing it.
No, that's great. And just speaking of that, I love that fresh grass smell, that fresh cut grass.
Yeah.
That's a magical one.
It is. I love that also. Sorry, y'all. I keep looking down at my phone because Kelly's texting. She's trying to get on. She hasn't been able to. Hopefully she'll be able to get on, but if she doesn't, we'll catch her some other time.
We'll catch her some other time, and we'll hold the show down here.
Yeah. So I want to show y'all real quick. Our girl Kimley is here.
Hey, Kimley.
Kimley Blanks, and she said, Hoby, NASCAR history in the making. So amazing. The reason I wanted to show y'all her, she is going to be at the Michigan race this weekend, which Hoby and I will not be able to be at, but Kimley is going to be there. So she's going to get some photographs for us.
Oh, that's incredible, Kimley. Thank you for being there.
Yeah, and then you and I, Hoby, will be at Daytona the next week.
Wait, Lisa, this means I'm going to actually get to meet you in person.
Yes, I thought I told you I was
coming. No, you didn't. You told me you couldn't make it because you had to help your daughter move.
Yeah, well, I just found out yesterday. I'm rearranging my schedule, so Tom and I are going to come down.
Well, that's the best part of this whole darn thing. I get to meet you.
Yeah, so Tom and I will be coming down. And
awesome, Lisa.
Yep, so we get to meet you and Justin. And Ryan actually has a videographer.
Oh my God.
Hold on a second. My computer's almost dead.
No problem.
Ryan actually has a videographer who's coming to video us.
Oh, Lisa, you didn't tell me that you're coming. That's incredible.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I did.
Well, it might have been embedded in an audio message that I, for whatever reason, missed.
Yeah. I should quit sending you those.
Yeah, no, I love them, and they actually work 99% of the time. Sometimes, if I miss one, though, it's always the one with the best details.
Yeah, right. Hold on.
No, keep sending audio messages. They're great.
Sorry about that. I thank God. Usually I don't notice the low battery thing, but it was like 13%. I'm like, oh my God, that would have been a disaster. So so Hoby, you and I and Justin and Tom are going to be there at Daytona.
Oh, that's going to be great.
Yeah, it's going to be so much fun. Now, my book, Disrupt Your Nail, won't be on the car for Daytona, but Hoby's will be on the car still. So that's going to be really cool.
Hey, Lisa, your book just came out, and I've been perusing it and reading it, and I just absolutely love the message in it, just about, and I'd love to hear a little more about the inspiration behind it and what made you think of that topic of just tweaking and changing one little thing and how that can totally impact so much of someone's trajectory in a positive direction.
Hoby, here's our girl Kelly.
Hey, Kelly.
So sorry, I'm so technically challenged.
Awesome, Kelly.
Totally fine.
It's good to see you.
Good seeing you, Toby. How are you?
So Kelly Gordon, meet Hoby Wedler. Hoby, meet Kelly. For the audience, Kelly is the owner of Springfield Distillery, and this is y'all's, what is it, your 4th anniversary coming up?
5th.
5th, okay. And y'all launched on November 11th, right? Veterans Day.
We did.
That's so cool.
It was really important to us. You know, my dad was military. James was former South African and New Zealand Army. My brother was Army. Friends and family grew up that way. So just it's been such an intricate part of our lives that it made sense for us to do that.
Yeah, and Hoby and I are so excited to be on the car with you. Hoby, can you scoot a teensy bit to the right? I think. Yeah. Okay, that's good. Right there. No, it's good.
You know, the blind people who can't see cameras.
No, that's fine. When Kelly came on, you know, it made us more narrow. So no, that's good. So Kelly, you and Hoby have never met, but Hoby was born blind and my dad was blind. So yeah.
I think we
chatted on Zoom for a while.
Yeah, we're fast friends. Don't worry, Lisa.
That's right. I totally forgot because look, y'all, audience, we're gonna do a Whiskey Wednesday one week with Kelly and Hoby.
We've got to do that.
Yeah, Kelly always has the Whiskey Wednesday show where she shares awesome recipes, and her mother is hilarious when she's on there. But she's gonna have Hoby on as a guest, and they'll be cooking up something special. So I'm not sure.
It's gonna be fun. And
maybe me tomorrow. So gosh help me.
That'll be fun.
Man.
Hoby had asked me about my book, but before we get on that, Kelly, tell us about Springfield Distillery and about, you know, how you got hooked up with Colin and about helping to support veterans and so forth.
So we have been friends with the Garretts for a long time and really watched Colin just come into his own with racing. I mean, we watched from his first race till now and just the incredible young man he's become through this process. So we've kind of watched it from beginning to like, oh my gosh, he's doing this at 15 to being an adult now where he can actually drink whiskey, which is amazing.
Yeah, right.
A lot. Of course, we like that. So we've also been, you know, just been a huge supporter, regardless of the distillery, for Colin, just because we're super proud of him as a young man and all of that. But when we opened on November 11th, it was just such a huge part for us to be, although me personally, I'm not a veteran, our surrounding family and that is so much. And so when we got our approval, it was just a natural thing for us to open on Veterans Day. Then, you know, with meeting with Colin and his 2 brothers being service members and just, you know, the importance to their family that it just made an easy unity for us to do this together. And so we had always envisioned doing something with the 11/11 with the veterans and celebrating that each year on the anniversary and the importance of, you know, paying it forward and doing what we can for veterans and for the military community and that stuff. It just was a kind of natural, you know, thing for us to do it with them. I mean, it's so important to Colin with his brothers going overseas. I mean, Ryan was overseas with a company that we worked for. I mean, it's just, we've always had that kind of unity. So it just was an easy thing for us to decide to do.
Yeah, I love it. And y'all, the 11/11 Veteran Project, Colin is starting up for next year. And we've talked a little bit about it, but we haven't really announced it. But we're working on some really cool things with Kelly and Springfield Distillery. And I know Hoby's going to be part of them. So I'm really excited for what's to come. And I'm so thrilled for everything that we're doing because my husband's retired Navy and a lot of what we do is suicide prevention. And the people that know me know my grandfather killed himself when I was 5. My grandmother tried to when I was 8. So suicide prevention is very important to me because I know how the effect ripples out through generations, but it also ripples out through the community, friends, and, you know, and so I just feel like anything that we can do to help the military community automatically helps everybody, even if they're not in the military, because there's that whole, they're basically a cross section of America.
It's true, and a cross section that everybody understands. Everybody has a connection.
Yeah.
Everybody in this country has some sort of connection to the military and to the people who are out there protecting us and keeping us alive. And it's like, it's such a wonderful way to sort of be inclusive. And this is going to sound strange, but Lisa, you and I have talked about this a little bit, that so many people who say they're inclusive are really only inclusive of one kind of group. But I think that by supporting and embracing what the military does, we're really able to be inclusive of kind of all walks of life and everybody.
Yeah, I totally agree, because we have all races, ethnicities, special interest groups, gay, LGBTQ, Hispanic, everything. Everybody is represented. Religions, everybody is represented in it. And the irony to me is a lot of times people think that people in the military are like really closed-minded and stuff. And it's always been our family's experience that,
Lisa, they don't know.
Yeah, that's right. And I'll tell you, as a matter of fact, my husband, when he was, fresh, young, really young in the military, and this was like probably 1965, and he was called to his chief, petty officer, whoever's office, and Tom had quit school. And the guy was like, look, I can tell you're really smart. You're going to report Monday. You're going to go get your GED. By the way, Tom has his master's now. But this man was black. And you know what? Tom was this white kid who just quit school. And that was a period of time, a lot of racial unrest in America. And so if you think about the fact, Tom, he gets very emotional about it, because he's like, he didn't have to help me. And this man, he saw something in me, and he didn't care that I was a white kid that quit, And
exactly.
So it's that man helped set him on a course that, like I said, he ended up with a master's degree, and and who knows what he might would have gone on and done that anyway, but probably not as soon as he did, as if he hadn't worked for that man.
Yes, no, it's so true. And anyone who passes judgment, it's kind of interesting. It's kind of like being blind, people claim that, we don't necessarily, they treat me a certain way because they assume I'm a certain way. They just don't know. And anyone, it's so true that anyone who questions the military or accuses them of being closed-minded or conservative or whatever just doesn't know.
That's right.
It's a part of our life, a beautiful part of our life, and it needs to be embraced. So I just think I draw that parallel there between blindness and the military with, public. I don't want to call it ignorance. It's not a nice way to call it, but a lack of knowing.
Right. Yeah. Just lack of knowledge. Yeah. If people haven't been exposed. When the thing that I love about what we're doing, or what Colin's doing with the hashtag Access Saves Lives, we're talking about access to everything. A lot of times when people think of accessibility, all they're thinking about is, and this is important, but all they're thinking about is like access to a building, or, accessibility on websites and everything. But we're talking about access to everything: education, funding, housing, mental and physical health, food, fun, everything, because all of those things make up the tapestry of life. And the more access a person can have to the things that they, number one, need, and number two, will enjoy, that automatically reduces the risk of suicide. So I just love that we've expanded this campaign out for access to all types of things.
Well, and I think now is even, it's most important, because you look at what's happening in Afghanistan, and the people that have devoted 15, 20 years of their life to the service, lost family members, sacrificed the families and their service members in that. And, there's so many of them that are sitting now just questioning all of their efforts and all of the sacrifices they made in doing that. And it's just, they're watching this unfold as now everything that they did for 15 years is no longer valid or important for that. And it's just the difficulty that these military members and these, government supporting members and everybody, that has sacrificed so much for that is going through. It's just, it's more so than ever. for me, you went through the Vietnam, my dad was in the Vietnam era, and I look at, his friends and his colleagues and my father and the members that he lost in that, and all of that played out. And then you've got this really unfolding for a second, for another
generation. Yeah.
It's like a different part of the world, but the same sort of thing.
Yeah. And what people don't realize is, I'm sure they realize war is so hard anyway. And I've not been to wars, so I'm only speaking, but war is so hard anyway. But if you're made to feel like what you did or are doing doesn't matter, this is all just going to make it a lot harder for military families and veterans and everybody, just emotionally questioning everything. Like you said, over the past 15 or 20 years. So was it worth it? So it really is going to increase the support, emotional and every way, that we need to give them.
Yeah.
100%. No, it's
Kelly, I know your dad was in Vietnam. Has he been pinned for the commemoration?
No. So Dad was he was actually, funny enough, he was one of the only officers that was a dog handler in Vietnam. So really? He was there voluntarily and was a door gunner and all of those things that you don't want to hear about.
Yeah.
So many people in that. And it's funny enough that I have found accolades to him in a shoebox in his closet that he refuses to put up or do anything because he has such a difficult time recognizing his contribution and the fact that it just wasn't what was supposed to be, and all of those that are lost, his friends, his, colleagues and all of that were lost through that. It was just, it's very different. I grew up with my dad rarely speaking of it ever, if ever.
Yeah.
And, but not funny enough, but recognizing now those that were in Afghanistan, Iraq and all of that, and the PTSD and all of that goes along with it, and actually contributing what my upbringing was with my dad to so much of what he had to have experienced in Vietnam. It's just, you actually recognize and empathize and say, gosh, seeing what these guys are going through now, you can actually kind of say, oh my gosh, I see it. And this is how I was raised and this is what it was. And have empathy for those that were from that time period and just recognize what so many of them are going to be going through now. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. It's unbelievable.
It is. I'm just so thrilled that we're all able to work together and do things to help so many people, though, and to bring joy to people, because, Colin ends up hanging out a lot of times with, just today he was hanging out with, I think it was the SEALs, hanging out. He was working. He was teaching them tactical mobility training, but it's always a lot of fun for them, because who doesn't want to hop in the car and ride around, Virginia International Raceway with a NASCAR driver?
Oh my gosh,
Aside from the fundraising to help with mental and physical health and all that stuff, aside from that, he just brings a lot of joy to a lot of people's lives.
The instruments that we have now that can bring that visibility to all of that nobody had after Vietnam and all of that, it doesn't lessen what everybody's experiencing now, but the tools that we have to actually assist those now is just, and recognizing it from the past till now is just, it's just, I'm hoping that it does make the difference, that it, if it brings people out of this and can just assist them, even if they feel 10% better a day because of what we recognize, it makes it worthwhile.
That's true.
It makes working fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it.
Well, on the topic of accessibility and access, since so many people, aren't looking at big picture access, they just look, like I said earlier, like access to buildings and stuff. I want to talk a little bit about various kinds of access. So like for Kelly, the access to funding that you got through certain programs that helped y'all start your business, right?
Yeah, so we actually got a grant from the state, which, with the distilleries, people don't realize that in order to even apply for a distillery's license, you actually have to have a building, equipment, and that. So you are a massive undertaking before you can even apply.
Wow.
So I always liken it to a brand new house that you've built and you've designed, and then you get to look at it, but you don't ever get to live in it. You don't get to, run the dishwasher or do anything like that. So it does make it quite difficult. But once we got started and we had the support of the state and everybody doing it, we've just been incredibly fortunate with the support in keeping us going. So we feel very blessed for everything that the community and the states and everything that have assisted us with this.
Mm-hmm. Wow. That's great. So Hoby, tell us, let's talk about something that has to do with access in whether it has to do with your business or access to education or like the things that your parents went to when you were little.
Yeah. No, careful what you wish for, because I could talk about this for hours. But no, I think that for me, access is totally universal. And I really feel strongly that we need to provide everybody with with as much access, make life as accessible as possible to them. Mm-hmm. So whether that's running science camps like we did to make science a little more accessible and attainable for blind students, blind campers. We did that just a few weeks ago. And it was just great to see them blossom and say, wow, this stuff that we're talking about is possible. To hear from blind scientists and use some chemistry equipment that was accessible, all the way to, in my opinion, branding. I have a creative and marketing studio called SensePoint. And what I find is that branding is all about accessibility. If you build a brand that's not very approachable and hard to interact with for anyone, whether it looks that way or it feels that way, you're not being accessible and inclusive. And to me, accessibility goes right along with inclusivity. If we really want to include everyone in what we do, we have to make everything accessible and available to them. So I think that's what's really important. And with our brand, we just, we made our products to be super versatile. We have 2 seasoning blends, like I was saying earlier, the rosemary salt and the happy paprika. And I'm going to get both of you guys samples. By the way, Kelly, we're launching probably tomorrow. As soon as our stuff gets put in our order gets, received, it's arrived, but it needs to get received by our shipping department. And we're just so excited about that. And,
that's awesome.
But the flavors are versatile and accessible to a lot. I didn't want to put something that's only going to be liked by people that like ridiculously spicy food. I put something out there that everybody's going to enjoy. And, it's funny. If we think about it, this is sort of taking it full circle, but if we think about like a wheelchair ramp, right? A way for a wheelchair to access, sidewalk down to pavement. That is how we typically think of accessibility. But what's so funny is that, a bunch of people argued about making wheelchair ramps accessible and it's too expensive. And people in wheelchairs in Berkeley, California said, no, it's not. You should do this. We don't want to have to sit there and wait for someone to, lift us up or, help us, lower us down. We need this. And people relented and finally put them in, and it became mandated in law in the Americans with Disabilities Act. But what's so crazy about it is think about wheelchair ramps and think about how when you design something to be accessible to one group, how many more groups you're helping. I just looked at a statistic that said that people who use wheelchair ramps, I'd say about 2% of them are actually in wheelchairs.
Yeah, I believe it. Yeah.
It's funny when we think about making one thing accessible to a small, relatively small group, we're really making the world more accessible to a large group.
That's a really great point. I love that. Kelly keeps her signal is not very good, and she keeps But I'm going to show you. Ryan said Whiskey Wednesday makes whiskey accessible to those who have no idea how to enjoy it. By the way, for those of y'all who are not familiar with Ryan Garrett is Colin Garrett's dad. Colin's driver. And Ryan, you are so right. I was going to actually say that. And the fact that Kelly here she is. Hey, Kelly.
I'm sorry. I just keep dropping. I'm so sorry.
I was going to show you what Ron said. He said Whiskey Wednesday makes whiskey accessible to those who have no idea how to enjoy it. And that's the exact point I was going to make.
Yes.
The fact that you do Whiskey Wednesday and teach those of us, because I'm like, I don't like whiskey. But then I like your drink. So I do like whiskey. It's just that if you're not used to it, you don't know what to drink. So I love the fact that you do all those recipes and, mixes and stuff and teach people how to enjoy the products.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, it's, people judge whiskey because it's so strong and, they're intimidated by as a, foolproof cocktail in a restaurant or that, but it's not the whiskey's fault. You just got to learn how to mix it a little more friendly. And that's what we tell everybody in the distillery is, man, we can make it friendly. Like I can make the best of a whiskey sangria that people will enjoy, that they don't recognize that they're drinking whiskey, which is a blackberry lemonade, any of those that people can enjoy. I mean, that's the idea, is that you don't necessarily need to knock somebody's socks off with it. You just got to enjoy it.
You make it approachable.
Are you able to talk about your new product that's getting ready to come out? The canned thing? Or is it too early to be? Okay. Oh, man, we lost her right.
Oh, we lost her.
I'm not going to say anything about it because I'm not sure what she's allowed to say yet and what she isn't allowed to say. Hoby, what are some of the unique ways that you have used your seasoning blends that, hold on, Kelly's coming back.
Yeah, I want to hear about this canned thing.
Yeah, I want to hear it. Can you hear us, Kelly?
I can.
Okay. So you were going to tell us, I don't know what you can say yet about your new product. What can you tell us about it? Oh, man, is she going to get lost?
Okay, I'm hoping this is going to help. I've switched over to my cell phone. So
okay.
I'm that this is actually work.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. You got to love that country zero internet.
I know, that's fine. That's
if
what
anybody knows.
I was going to tell the people watching, Kelly lives in the country. So this is real life, y'all.
That's awesome.
Yeah, this is real life. This is DSL at its finest. I mean, really, like there's no Fios, there's no fiber optics anywhere. So you got to rely on what you can with Verizon. But so real quick, we are well into the process. We're expecting it for our 5th anniversary. And I am elated to say that we have gotten a canned cocktail, the first in a many of what we expect to come, approved, and we'll be selling in the distillery for our 5th anniversary. So we're super excited. It is a blackberry whiskey sour. So it is unique to what.
Oh, man, there she is. I'll be back in a minute. I have had blackberry drinks at her place. I don't know if it's blackberry whiskey sour that I had, but I've had some blackberry drinks, and I'm not a whiskey drinker like old fashioned and stuff, but the drinks that she makes like that, I just love, and I'm so excited about her canned drinks.
See that, Lisa? It makes whiskey accessible and approachable to you.
Yeah, that's right.
That's it.
Exactly. And so that's what we're talking about, y'all. Just opening up things to everybody and giving them a way that they can have access to things they need and or things that they enjoy. I
just have another point, if you don't mind, about access overall that I just think is so important. When we work to make the things that we do more accessible to everyone, in business, as entrepreneurs, as people starting companies, and Lisa and Kelly and I definitely share this entrepreneurial spirit in common. We believe in creating businesses to solve problems. You just get this positive, truly abundance mindset when you know that you're doing the right thing. And it's just isn't it a win-win, Lisa?
It is. And money's great. But to me, it's so much more than that. It's fun. It's fun to create things and to help people and to figure out how to solve problems,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, it's funny, as blind people, we literally, surviving in a sighted world, and I don't like to use the word surviving, I'd rather use the word thriving in a sighted world.
Yeah.
We really are problem solvers because I have to figure out how to make things accessible. If my cane breaks and I'm out hiking on a trail, well, I might have to tape a stick to my cane to hold the thing together. And I've done this before, but you have to be resourceful, and you have to be able to solve problems. That's the other thing as a blind chemist, working in the lab, in order to convince people that and show people that it's okay for me to be in the lab. I had to do a lot of work to make the lab space accessible to me and available to me, including bringing in a sighted assistant to work through the lab experiments. But it's all about problem solving. That's what we do. That's all you and I do.
Yeah, I love that. Here she is again. I love.
Awesome.
I think I have that in your book. Look there, we can see better now, Kelly.
Oh my gosh, I'm struggling. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. I'm just so excited about the Blackberry. So it's Blackberry whiskey sour. Is that what you said?
Sour, and we are super excited. It's the first of amongst many canned cocktails we're hoping, but we are looking to introduce it on our 5th anniversary, of day. So we're super excited about it. We've worked it all out, and we've worked out the kinks, and finally gotten the ABC in Virginia to work with us. So I'm over the moon, literally over the moon about it.
I know how hard that is working with the ABC, Kelly, because we do it all the time with our clients, and going to be doing it for us here pretty soon. It's a lot of work and a lot of trouble.
It is. You look at how far we've come, and yet when you look at alcohol, you go back to prohibition, and it is just even when everybody's allowed to do the things that they want to do, but somehow alcohol has this, stigma on it. It's just really, it's crippling. You just, as an adult, I should be able to drink and do what I want to do, and within reason. I'm not harming others. And for whatever reason, our government decides that they need to restrict that. So
So I'm a sensory guy, and I'm totally intrigued by these Blackberry cocktails. Do you use real blackberry?
So we actually get a natural flavor. Being 100% honest, we specialize in whiskey. We do not specialize in blackberries and all of
right.
flavors.
No, this is great.
But there is a great company that works and is what we call TTB approved, which is the Tobacco Trade Bureau that actually oversees, which used to be the ATF, the Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms Administration. And so we actually go through a company that specializes in making natural flavors, and we do that to ensure that we the continuity of a product in 2017 to 2025. And what we do is when we make the whiskey, right before we go to bottle it, we add 6% natural flavors to it. And we are super excited about the flavors that we get in that. We add natural honey from Virginia. We add maple from Vermont. We do all natural flavors from a company in California. It is just literally 6% of the product. So the grains and everything we resource locally, but the natural flavors that we add to the whiskey at the very end, we do get from a company that specializes in that and natural and organic flavors.
But that's incredible. Great. That's great. And that on a business level for the entrepreneurs watching, that's a great lesson. And you don't have to be everything to everybody. Pick the thing that you're good at and find other people who are experts in the things that aren't your wheelhouse. Because I gotta tell you, it's
rare you find a person that doesn't like the blackberry whiskey. It's rare. I mean, it is definitely our bestseller. It is our most preferred whiskey, which I never expected. It was one that we did and thought we'd like it, and then it just has literally grown legs. So that's why we did the whiskey sour. It's one that has been most popular within the distillery, whether it be a lemonade or a whiskey sour or Tom Collins.
Cool.
The blackberry is kind of sweet, so pairing it with something tart is just a perfect marriage. We really enjoy it. Excited about this endeavor.
I love that.
Hoby, you need to come out on November 11th.
You know what?
To be at the distillery for their celebration of their.
You're getting me really interested in this. I just might have to come.
Because you can hang out with us and Colin. Kelly's losing her connection again, so she might not be back for a minute. But you could hang out with us and Colin, and we've got some. Here she comes back. There she is. Kelly, I was just telling Hoby that he needs to come for your anniversary celebration
Be so great.
November 11th, and that, we're cooking up some things.
Absolutely. I would love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. I would love for you to come out and see it in action.
Well, I was just saying, you're making me thirsty with all this talk.
Yeah.
I know. Don't worry. We'll cure parchness. Don't worry.
That's right. And Kelly's working on some great ideas for that event. And we're talking about doing some things with her. So Hoby, it would be a great opportunity for you to come out and see a lot of fun things going on here in Halifax County.
I just love Halifax County from knowing all of you guys and knowing the Garretts, and I can't wait to come check it out.
Daggone it, I lost her again. I want to ask you, Hoby, about your product. What's some kind of weird way you've used one of those blends that somebody might not expect?
Oh man, so I actually have a dear friend who has never liked scrambled eggs, and I challenged him. A couple months ago, I challenged him. I said, hey, you don't like scrambled eggs. I know that. But I think if you just trust me, I think we're going to find a way to make you like scrambled eggs. So we have this technique where we use a little bit of butter and we scramble the eggs and add the cold eggs to the warm butter and just slowly heat it while removing it from the burner every once in a while and keeping on whisking it. And you put it back on the burner and then pull it off. So you do it really slowly. And then we finish them with happy paprika, with this beautiful paprika and pepper rub. Oh my gosh. He sat down with a plate of eggs. I gave him exactly what I gave everybody else. And he said, there's no way I'm going to eat these. I said, okay, I'll take a bite. He dug his fork in and took a bite, and the plate was gone before I knew it.
Oh, funny.
And that's what it's about, though, Lisa. It's about coming up with something that takes something that someone says they don't like.
Yeah.
And transforms into something they do.
Yeah. I love that. Now, what is it about cooking them really slow and pulling them off and cooling them?
What it does? So you know how some scrambled eggs, if you cook them too fast, they get a little dry?
Yeah, you couldn't see me nodding. I was drinking my beer, so I was talking. Yes.
You're good. You're good. Yeah, no, they get a little bit dried out and whatnot. When you cook them slowly, you actually are treating the proteins more tenderly, so you're not just totally denaturing them.
Okay.
So you get a much smoother egg white, and then the fat of the yolks just kind of melts its way through. They're really good.
Interesting. So it's kind of like scrambled eggs, but you're treating them more tenderly.
Yep, that's exactly it. A little more like a custard.
Okay. So the texture ends up being more like a custard?
You got it.
Daggone. And you don't mix anything else but butter and the happy paprika?
That's it. That's it. I might throw a little salt in before I start them going, but that's it.
Wait, you do what before you start it going?
I might throw a little bit of salt into the raw egg mixture.
Yeah, because I'm, usually like if I make an omelet, I'll put a little milk in it. Right. You don't put anything like that.
You don't need to. Sometimes what's really a good little treat is to finish that whole thing off with a little bit of sour cream that you mix right in there,
Ooh, that's really good. Well,
it's really good.
This is totally off topic of cooking and the last question I asked you, but I know people out there are probably like, what the heck? Hoby hikes? Because people who have not been around somebody who's blind, they think you just kind of like sit around and wait for a sighted person to do something for you. So, but it's totally not true. I mean, you do pretty much everything everybody else does, but in a different way sometimes, except drive a car unless you're my father, which he did do that.
Oh my God. I gotta talk to you more about that story of your dad driving. That's a great one. Yeah, my parents, Lisa, were really incredible. I didn't go to a school for the blind like your dad did. That's where he learned his independence. My parents were really incredible to me and taught me exactly what I would need to do to succeed, and really gave me the responsibility of my own life and said, this is your deal. This is your responsibility. And kind of what happened with that is that they totally expected me to hike with the family, and shoot, I learned to hike. We've hiked a few 9,500 foot peaks, and
oh my gosh,
the rush of being up there that high is just great. I love it.
Well,
now, you're not going to find me on roller coasters or skydiving out of airplanes, not because I'm blind and can't do it. It's just that I don't really like doing those things.
Yeah, I'm not interested in things like that either. Somebody asked me today, I was on a podcast, they asked me, what is one thing on my bucket list? And I said to through hike the Appalachian Trail. I love to hike.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Is Halifax County kind of close to the Appalachian Trail?
It's like 80 miles away. At my cabin in the mountains is right on the Appalachian Trail, though.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah, and it's like just 5 minutes from the most photographed spot on the trail. Yeah.
Does it smell amazing? Does the air smell amazing up there?
Yeah, it does. I just love it. And that was Daddy's place. That was his peaceful place because it was where he grew up. Not the house he grew up in, but this is his great uncle's house. But the access thing that we're talking about. So let's talk like Daddy went to school for deaf and blind, and you went to public. Was it public school or private school or what?
Public school.
Public school. But here's the thing, y'all. Nothing is wrong for all people. Nothing is right for all people. So my father grew up in the mountains in a family of 11 children, dire poverty.
Wow.
Very, very, very rural mountain community, very small school. And it would have really been hard for him to have access to the things that would have pushed him. I really think that because of his personality, he probably would have ended up doing a lot of things he did anyway. But still, he could have very easily ended up being sheltered too much.
Absolutely.
Living in an area like that. And so his dad did not want him to go away to the school for deaf and blind. And his mother waited until his father was gone, and she put Daddy on the bus and sent him. And his father was livid, to say the least, but they were poor. There was no way he could get up there and get him. It was probably like 100 miles away. And
wow.
There were years that he, like, my sister found letters at his school, like, from his mom. Glenn's not going to be able to come to school this fall because he doesn't have a pair of shoes, things like that. And they'd send him shoes. But so for him, the school for deaf and blind was I think was very, very important because it gave him access to the minds and the worldview and everything that he couldn't have gotten where he lived. But you lived a place that public school served all the needs that you had. And that was all you needed.
Well, and I was really lucky, Lisa, because my mom was a teacher of the visually impaired. So it was really, really incredible. I don't know if I told you that.
No, I didn't, but she wasn't before you were born, right?
Right, but she was going to school for special ed because she wanted to do something. Okay. And I was like, well, shoot, I've got this blind kid. Let me go to school in teaching blind people. So that's what she did. And yeah, everything works differently for everybody, but we all figure out ways. If we're included, if people work to include us, we always figure out ways to make it happen and to make it all work.
Ryan has a question for you, Ryan Garrett. He says, I can't wait for Hoby to experience an Xfinity race as a blind person. What are his expectations before he gets there? And I know you've never been to a race at all. So do you have any idea what you're stepping into? Obviously, you're not going to be in the car, but
I think it's going to be, sometimes I get a little nervous. Really, really loud things can make me a little bit nervous. So I'm feeling like not apprehensive, but kind of excited about it. I imagine it's going to be quite loud. One thing that would be, I've never touched a race car.
I was going to say you were going to love touching the car and feeling of the rumble.
Do you think they'll let me touch it?
Around the garage, you should be able to. I mean,
that's amazing.
I mean, the last time I was in the garage was pre-COVID. It was Daytona of 2020. But depending on, I don't know, Ryan might know that answer. If we're allowed to go to the garages, you can. And, you'd be able to. Yeah, Ryan says you will be able to.
Oh, so that's incredible. Be really
cool. You'll be able to feel the whole car. It's really cool. They are very, very loud, but of course, just the whole car, you'll be able to feel the rumble of it. You're going to love it. Oh, my
gosh.
I have to say, the very first race I ever went to, even though we grew up like very near a famous short track here in South Boston.
Right.
We could hear it at night, but I didn't grow up going to races. The very first race I ever went to was at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And so, it's huge. And I felt like I couldn't breathe when they first started. And I was in the pits. when they first started going around the track, I felt like I couldn't breathe. And I mean, I kind of have some phobias like claustrophobia and heights and stuff. It took me a minute to get like, okay, this is all right. They're not going to like leap over the thing and kill me.
And Lisa, I guess we're going to be down pretty close to the pit.
Oh, we're going to be in the pits, honey. You're going to be right behind the pit crew. You're going to be where the team owner is and where Ryan is. And Ryan just posted, we will only allow him to drive one lap. Kimley goes, only one?
Oh man.
God, you would.
And maybe after a couple of beers, I'll be a better driver.
Oh yeah, I don't know. Oh my God, I cannot wait though for you to experience.
Oh, you guys.
It's such a unique thing. And, even people who aren't race fans to be able to be there and be in that atmosphere and smell all the smells of the garage and everything. Yes. But yeah, you're going to be in the pits right there, sitting or standing behind the pit crew before they go over the wall. They stand behind the wall, they go over the wall to work on the car. So, and you're not going to be standing right there with them. But you're going to be right there by the track. It's going to be so cool.
Incredible. And Ryan, I just found out that Lisa was able to come join us in Daytona, and that is just incredible. I don't know if you heard us talking about that earlier, but that's going to be incredible. Really excited about that.
We're going to have a blast. Daytona will never be the same, right? NASCAR will never be the same.
It will never be the same. And y'all are going to get spices,
That's right. I'm going to show everybody again. I want to show you part of the paint scheme. And if you can see it, that above the door, this is on the passenger side, above the door where Colin's name goes, we have it spelled in Braille. And then in the numbers 2 and 6 down at the bottom left corner, we have the numbers, the Braille version of the numbers. It's also like that on the roof. And I think the 26, like at the front by the headlights, also has it in. It's so cool. I love it. And I cannot wait for us to do more races for Access Saves Lives and do some really, really cool, crazy Braille paint scheme.
Oh my gosh. Lisa and Ryan, we're going to have so much fun. This is the beginning of so much opportunity.
Yep. And Miss Kimley is going to be, as I said earlier, Kimley Blanks is going to be up at Michigan this weekend with Colin.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so she's going to get some good photos for us while she's up there.
Hey, Kimley, maybe you can record just a little bit of audio for me to hear. I would love that.
Yeah, that would be good.
Oh, wow.
All right. Well, I've had you for an hour, so I'm going to let you go. And Kelly obviously couldn't make it back. But Hoby, I want to thank you so much for being here tonight. I want to thank you for your support of our team and for helping us get the message of access out to everybody. And y'all, please go to accessSavesLives.com. Right now, it's just a one-pager, but that's where we're going to be have everything about this campaign and ways that later on you'll be able to be part of it through crowdfunders and so forth.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, we're going to have some cool things going on. Hoby, before we go, you didn't tell them that your products are going to have Braille labels.
They're going to have Braille labels. They don't right now, but guess what? In the next 2 rounds or so of labeling, we're going to get the tooling done, and we're going to be the only spice company with Braille labels in the world.
And that is awesome. And people are probably wondering, well, why don't they do it? It is hugely expensive. It's going to be what, like $25,000?
Something like that. Yeah, but we're going to raise the money and we're going to do it. We are so excited and so committed to it. And Lisa, the other thought that I had is I'm going to reach out. If you're good with it, let's reach out to Accessibility tomorrow. And they already told us they'd give us, their service on whatever website that promotes this event.
Yeah,
let's load them on there before this weekend.
Yeah, we definitely have to get them on there. I dropped the ball on that because with launching the book and going to San Diego and then
I dropped the ball. You've been so busy launching your book and all that. So let's talk about that tomorrow.
Okay, yeah, and I'm really glad that you reminded me of that because they definitely want to have it on there. So thank you for reminding me.
This will be great.
All right, talk with you later.
Lisa, it's an honor to be on your show. Thank you for including me. This is great.
Okay, thanks. Talk to you later. Everybody else, I'll see y'all next Tuesday. And I don't know yet who's going to be on the show. I'll let you know sometime before the show starts.
Perfect.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.